Literally is my first stop. We finished today, and I came straight here. So, and it's good to be at Oak Forest. The Democrats here, and again, thank you, Carl and Mary, and I've known each other over the years, and just been a stalwart in the battle. And then I'm not going to call names because I'll be calling names all night. But let me just start off by saying good evening to everyone. You know. We are finished 140 days in the legislature, and quite frankly, you don't want us there too long anyway. Every session is different. This was a tough one in its own way. There were some good things that happened, and there were some bad things that happened. It was a session that was obsessed with guns, just obsessed with guns. We were not able to stop them from passing. And so the concealed guns, the open carry, that will be the law of the land in the state of Texas for now. Guns on college campuses will be the law of the land, at least for now. Democrats did force it to be watered down. So even though college presidents must allow guns on their campus, they can determine to some degree where they will be allowed. And it's my hope that many of the presidents and the chancellors will designate spots in very narrow, confined areas, because there are many college presidents throughout our state that don't want them at all. And so, but I think in this session, Democrats learned something, and that is when you get an opportunity to kill a snake, you kill the snake. And on Thursday night, we did have an opportunity to kill it. We were running out the clock. I will tell you, the speaker did make us a promise, and that was that if we allowed the bill simply to get through that round, that it would not come out of conference at all, and that it would not see the light of day. He reneged on his promise, and it came out in a watered down form, but nonetheless it came out when it should not have come out. And that's a lesson to us all, is that when you get an opportunity and you see something that's bad and you're in a position to kill it, you kill it. And I think that's a lesson we will carry forth down the road. But in this legislative session, I just don't want to focus initially on the bad, because there was still a lot of good that came out of it. When it comes to our healthcare system, our trauma system, BENTOP, as you know, certification is in question. It's a level 1 adult trauma center. It services all of us in our area. Unless they can come up with additional funding in March of next year, they could lose their level 1 trauma status. I championed to try to get more funding for our trauma centers, and I'm pleased to report that funding is in the bill. And BENTOP and the other trauma 1 hospitals, and that's a good thing. On mental health care, mental health treatment, for a long time, Texas has been like 51 out of 51. We started providing additional mental health funding last session. We've continued to do it in this session, and the state of Texas will continue to move down in terms of what we're doing on a per capita funding basis for our mental health centers, community centers, and then that's a good thing, and I'm proud of what we've done there. With respect to the grand jury system in the state of Texas, we are the only state pretty much in the union that does this pick-a-pal system, and that system in the state of Texas, John Whitmire, I want to give the Dean of Cemetery District 15 a tremendous amount of credit. He championed and authored that out of the Senate. He came over to the House. We ended up putting it on State Representative Carol Alvarado's bill, and then Representative Dutton pushed the bill as well, and that will be the law of the land. We're changing the system to more of a random selection, and that's a big, big plus. And I want to give my candidates for that. Our juvenile justice system has been in a state of flux. Again, I want to thank the Dean. He carried the bill revamping our entire juvenile justice system. I carried it in the House. It did pass out. It is now on its way to the governor's desk, And so that's a tremendous plus. With respect to truancy, and we criminalize truancy in the state of Texas. Again, I want to thank the Dean of Senatorial District 15. He's changed that system. It came out of the House, and that bill is on its way to the governor's desk, and then that's a tremendous plus. And so we've made some tremendous strides. And then there are bills that did not see the light of day that I think we can owe Democrats a lot of credit for. There was a push to say to private health insurance companies, you cannot provide insurance coverage to those who may seek abortion. That was on the calendar. We never got to it. Democrats pretty much walked slowly the calendar, and we never reached it. And that bill died on the vine. There were over 20 plus bills to deal with the LGBT community, not in a favorable sense. There was one bill in particular, 4105, that would have said to county clerks throughout the state, regardless of what the Supreme Court says, you cannot issue any sort of license. Again, Democrats kind of walked slowly the calendar. That bill never reached the light of day. There were over 20 plus bills that were filed in reference to the LGBT community. Those bills will not be heading to the governor. Those bills will stop. Respect to labor, AFL-CIO. Where's that? I saw there he is. The volunteer dues checkoff bill. It came out of the Senate. It came over to the House. Many thought that it was gonna pass through the House. But I will tell you, Democrats rallied strong and hard, stood the line. And then that bill is died on the vine, will not go to the governor's desk. It will not happen. So the point that I want to make, even though we face some things and some things are going to the governor's desk that we otherwise would not like, there's still many things that did not make it through. And it's an indication that even though we may be in the minority for now, it doesn't mean that you give up and you throw in the towel. And I think we've held the line, and we will look forward to a brighter day. I do think a brighter day is coming, and we're moving forward. But what does that mean? In many cases, what happens when the things on the state level are controlled by those that are not of Democratic persuasion, our battlefront and battleground turns locally, and to like our cities, our urban cities. Particularly like Dallas, like San Antonio, like the city of Houston. And so today was my last day in the legislature in terms for a regular session. I've been there for 26 years. I owe a great deal to the people in my district, in District 139, that have entrusted in me the opportunity to serve them in the Texas House for 26 years. But as I indicated on today, regardless of what the future may hold, my time has come, my season has passed, and my desk is clear. And so when this term finishes, I am relinquishing my seat for the Texas House, and I look forward to working with whomever people of District 139 will choose to follow me. But I strongly believe, and I hope the people in my district believe, that the district is a lot better now than it were when I finished. But that does not mean that everything has been accomplished, because no elected official, no matter how good you may think he or she may be, no elected official can do it all on your watch. There will always be something left for somebody else to do, and it's important that we rally together. So even though my stay in the legislature is coming to the end, let me quickly tell you my desire to be a public servant, my desire to continue to be a voice for those who need to be represented has not diminished at all. And so I'm returning back to the city in which I was born and reared. From the moment in time I was born at Herman Hospital to the time I caught the student wood, we say fo. Some of you would get that down the road, and traveled downtown as a kid, and walked up and down Main Street in Louisiana and Travis to look at those big buildings, and said as a kid, one of those days, I want to be office in one of those buildings. One of the reasons why my law firm has been downtown for 32 years is not just because It's just by happenstance. But it's a culmination and the fulfillment of a dream. As a kid, when I didn't have any money, didn't have a lot of money to go on vacations, Shelley's family couldn't do any of that. But I did put together enough money to catch that bus ride to go downtown. And for me, that was my vacation. Walking down Main Street in Louisiana was my vacation. And my dream was that one of these days I would be officing in one of those buildings. And that's why when my law partners and I got together, we were discussing where we were going to open up our shop and put our law firm. It was very clear. I wanted to be downtown. Because as a kid, that was what I fantasized, and that dream has come true. And for 32 years, I've been a partner downtown in the law firm at Barnes & Turner, and I'm very appreciative of that. It goes to say that in this city, dreams do come true. That you can dream big, and dreams do come true. But you got to work hard at it. No one is going to give you anything. You got to put forth an effort, and you got to believe not only yourself, but you also have to recognize that it takes others to also believe in you as well. And a lot of people have invested in my life. If it's my desire, and over the next 6 months, I'm filling out an application, and I'm putting everything I know on it. And I hope after you review the application, and after you had a opportunity to interview me and look at me carefully, that you will decide 6 months from now to hire me as your mayor. That's my desire. That's my hope. This is a great city. Let me tell you just briefly where I'm running, and now I'm going to take my seat. Whoever wants to be the next mayor of this city has to attend to what I call the fundamentals of this city. And before you can do anything else, you got to attend to the fundamentals. You have to attend to a street. You have to attend to transit and transportation. Those are the fundamentals on that end of this city. There are a lot of people in this city. They're coming in every day. They're trying to get from point A to point B. We all know about the streets, the roads. We need to attend to that. But it becomes an ongoing sort of deal. And the question is, how do you attend to the fundamentals and at the same time move people from point A to point B? We are designing, we're going to launch in a couple of weeks, what we call a Road to the Future effort. And essentially what that means is that in a city of this size with so many traveling on streets, you're always going to have some pothole problems. Streets are always going to be in need of repair. You're never going to be able to fix them so that you don't need repair. And then there's a labor pool in this city of unskilled labor that we need to tap in and utilize to give them hope and to give them opportunities. And we need to tap into that. The Road to the Future that I'm putting forth takes into account, utilizes our community colleges out, utilizes HCC, Lone Star, utilizes Public Works, utilizes the public sector, and say to a lot of folk who are looking for work, looking for jobs, let's provide you with some opportunities so you can become a skilled labor force that we can tap into, and you can help to repair these streets and keep them repaired on an ongoing basis. Provide them with their basic skills, and then work so that they can become even more skillful. That to give them the opportunities that they need in order to take care of themselves and to take care of their families. But it's going to take a collaborative effort of working with our community colleges, working with the private sector, working with the City of Houston Public Works, putting it all together, and the Texas Department of Transportation. I've been in the legislature for 26 years. We have really never tapped into the Texas Department of Transportation like we should. There's a division within the Texas Department of Transportation that will provide funding to train people to do much of what we're talking about. And so we need to work in collaboration. So one of the plans is to build this road to the future, where we're utilizing this untapped skill force and putting them to work, but putting them to work to take care of the infrastructure that we have. We have to have better streets. When you come in from Highfield, when you come in Intercontinental, the very first face of this city will be the roads that people travel. And we need to make a good impression. And then at the same time, when it comes to our transit, Metro is rebranding itself. I think they're moving in the right direction. I think that's a good thing. The rail lines are now open, but it's going to take a while before we get any additional rail in this city. But we still have to work to move people out of their cars and let them to utilize buses and the transit system. We've got a bus fleet. We have fewer buses now than we had some 10 years ago. We need to have more. But at the same time, we need to utilize technology even more. Right now, with your cell phone, you can find out whether a bus is 2 minutes away if we utilize the technology that currently exists. And there are other cities that have the technology where you can pick up your phone, and if Lenore and John, they have at the restaurant, if they want to catch a bus, they can tell whether or not a bus is 2 minutes away. And if you know that the system is reliable, where you can utilize your technology, then I think more people will be more inclined to use it. This is a young city, and we need to tap into this young market. And so even our transit system has to become much more appealing, much more sexy. And we have to utilize the technology that exists for it. In terms of transit and transportation, I am pleased to report that we did pass through some bills in this legislature that will add billions of dollars to our transportation system in the state of Texas. And the formula that we're utilizing, 40% of those dollars will go to cities where there's major congestion. Can you think of one of those cities? Let me tell you, it was no accident that formula is put in place. Billions of dollars will be coming into this city. When we collaborate and partner with the Texas Department of Transportation, with Public Works, with our regional authorities, with the county, I think we can help move people in and out. They're doing work on 610 and 290. I-45, quite frankly, is outdated. And we're even talking about now redoing I-45. The Pierce elevator is outdated, but not necessarily tearing down the Pierce elevator, not tearing it down. But the concept is to take out I-45 and take it around downtown, but leave the Pierce elevator up, but don't tear it down, but turn it into like a high-rise park. If you think that's far-fetched, in New York they've done something very similar, where you have, can you imagine the Pierce elevator being a park where people are literally walking up top, and you've got restaurants and other things on top and below.
Don't forget the bike lanes.
And the bike lanes. We have to have a multimodal form of transportation. For people who want to use the bikes, you got to have the bike lanes. For people who want to use the bus, you have to make it sexy and attractive and appealing and reliable. For folk who want to use light rail, it has to be connected in such a way that people can get from point A to point B. And for people who are using cars, we've got to make sure that when a vehicle is stalled, you got to get it out of the way. I will applaud Bill White, one thing that he did on the Safe Clear program. People question the execution of it, but the concept was very good, because one stalled vehicle will stop a whole lot of traffic. And you got to move those stalled vehicles as quickly as you can. And then you have to have more turning lanes. So there are many different forms that we need to utilize in terms of getting people from point A to point B, and I think the opportunities are there. And then for the folk who are living down in Missouri City, that US 90 commuter rail, that is an idea whose time has come. So there has to be many different forms, and I think we're moving in that direction, and I want to move in that direction. With regard to public safety, people want to feel safe. But I would tell you, we're 1,500 police officers short. We're 1,500 short. And we need community policing. That concept does work. But the greatest enemy to community policing is the lack of resources. And so we have to work to address that. And I'm pleased to report when it comes to law enforcement and who they are supporting, whether it's HPD, whether it's the Metro Police, whether it's the Texas Municipal Police Officers Association, all of them are standing behind this guy from Senatorial 15. And I look forward to working with them to making this a very safe city. In terms of flooding and infrastructure, I don't have to tell you anything about that. It's real. But for those of us on the north side, when White Oak used to flood quite a bit, okay? So much so that the Harris County Flood Control District came in and purchased about 150 to 200 homes because they kept flooding. We widened the channels, okay? We made the improvements. And now this area doesn't flood nearly as much. The same thing that happened here has to happen all over the city. And so we have to make sure that the Rebuild Houston, the drainage fee, those dollars are used for their intended purpose. And that's critically important. A few other things, and then I'm going to stop. The financial integrity of the city. 2016, 2017, 2018 are going to be challenging financial years. With the revenue cap in place, the debt service in the city will peak in 2018. It will be at its highest level. Okay. You have obligations that are steadily rising. The next CEO will have to manage the city extremely well. This is going to be critically important. In my 26 years of the legislature, 21 of my 26 years have been spent on the Appropriations Committee. I am vice chair of the Appropriations Committee. When this state was facing a $10 billion shortfall in 2003, there was a Republican speaker who called and asked me to sit on the conference committee to help balance the state's budget. And I did. And we worked and we got it done. Some painful cuts then. In 2011, when the state was facing a $27 billion shortfall, there was another Republican speaker who called on me to balance the budget. And this time what he said, because I don't want to have to deal with Republicans and why I'm appointing a Democrat to the conference committee, I'm going to name you vice chair because that's an automatic seat on the conference committee. Of my 26 years, 21 of those years have been on the Appropriations Committee. Since 2003, with the exception of 2009, I've been the only Democrat of the 5 sitting at the table on the conference committee to balance the budget. It's not because they love this Democrat. Let me just be very clear. It's not because they love, because I just voted against this budget. It's not because they love this Democrat, but they respect my work and what I do. And that's what's critical. Since 2003, I've been the only Democrat and the most longest serving person on the Legislative Budget Board, the committee that oversees the entire state operation when we are not in session. Neither the Speaker, nor this President, Lieutenant Governor, or any other Republican has served on this committee longer than I have. I've been the longest serving one since 2003, uninterrupted since 2003. Lastly, this is a great city. There are a lot of cranes going up. There are a lot of people making a lot of money. But in the midst of all the growth and development, there are communities and people that are operating in the shadows. People who are not doing as well. The income inequity is increasing. It's not reducing. Okay? Over 24% of the people in this city are living in poverty. They represent the working poor. You can't ignore them. You can't treat them as if they don't exist, because they do. They are working and they are poor. And many cannot afford health insurance to take care of themselves and their families. We have to address that. We have to provide them with job opportunities. We have to encourage businesses to pay them more, not just a minimum wage, but a sustainable wage. And we have to let folks know that this is one family and we all have to participate in it. This is the most diverse city in the country, and we ought to be proud of it. But diversity does not mean that it's not without its own tension. So whoever is going to be the next mayor of the city has to be able to bring all of those groups together and moving us in the right direction. I've been honored to serve you as a legislator. I will be even more honored to serve you as your mayor. And I hope between now and November, I hope that you will come to the conclusion that I can not only represent this city, but I can represent it extremely well. I've lived on the north side all of my life. I live in Oaks of Inwood, been there for the past 20 years. A few years ago, I decided I was just going to kind of tear down the inside of my home and rebuild right where I have always been. I wanted the people in my neighborhood to know is that this is where I intend to stay, and this is where I intend to do everything I can for this area to grow and develop. We are all proud Houstonians, and we all have a stake in the future of this city. And it's going to take all of us working together to make it work effectively. Together, I know we can do great things. And it's not about me. It's not about what I want. But if it's good for the city of Houston, it's good for me. And I'm going to work my butt off to try to convince each and every one of you to give me the opportunity to be mayor. And quite frankly, I'm not concerned about anybody else who's in this race.
There you go. There you go.
It's good to have choices.
There you go.
It's good to have choices. I'm not concerned about anybody else in this race. But what I would ask you to do, you take my record and you take theirs. And I think my record will stand and kick their butt any day.
That in the event you are elected mayor of the city, that you will oppose any increase in the city's property tax rate?
Well, I'm not going to pledge that. I will say to you that the city needs to be well managed. I will also tell you that one of the bills that came through this legislative session, if the governor doesn't veto it, say that before you can increase property values, you got to get to like a 6% margin to get there. And I think to the extent you can get a 6% margin, then I think the merits will speak for themselves. I don't envision having to increase property taxes, but quite frankly, I've never made those pledges, and I don't intend to start now. Yes, sir.
The bill passed, well, everybody can carry a handgun. So did it require any provision for there to be training in the use or proficiency of handgun?
Just a concealed handgun permit.
Okay. And what are the requirements?
Well, you do have to have training to get the concealed gun permit. So if you got the CHL, then you can put it there. If you don't, you can't. But who's going to ask? Yes, sir.
I'm Scott Tillingham.
Hi, Scott.
This weekend, I took chimney rock from this area to my land at Southwest Freeway. It is all too easy to get diverted into a left turn lane or a right turn lane. And there's badly planned intersections all over Houston. This is just one example. What would you do about reworking streets?
Okay, when you say reworking streets, what do you mean?
Yeah, like make the city easier to drive through.
Well, certainly, number one, the streets need to be repaired. That's number one. Okay, there do need to be more turning lanes. Okay, so that's critically important.
Well, the thing is, it's too easy to get into a left turn lane only lane or a right turn lane only, especially in the southwest part of town. If I don't know the area very well, I can get a lot of difficulties, and it's dangerous to change lanes.
Right. I guess I would just need to know exactly which streets we're talking about and take a look at them.
Well, the one I have in mind is where Chimney Rock runs under the Southwest Freeway.
Okay, I would have to take a look at it, Scott. I'm not in a position to address that particular street.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
Sylvester, we've already kept you longer than we should have. I know you had another engagement tonight.
I'll let them know that I'm going to be running late.
I just want you to do something for me.
Yes, sir.
Those of you that know I have to raise money for various parts of the Democratic Party. Whenever you do it, I go to Sylvester and I say, Sylvester, I need 200, I need 500. Listen.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm not going to ask you for money. But you need to tell all these people that are sitting here, they need to sign up for membership tonight. It's only $15, and that's the way you can come back on August 31st and vote to